Weather Extra chilly visitor this morning as cooler temperatures settle in. We talk about just how chilly it got, and not only for our area but across the country.
And we continue to track the tropics as we bring the newest hurricane forecast. Update from Colorado State University.
Plus, we talk about our next best chance for rain and how much we could possibly see.
Live on your side. First Alert Weather Extra starts right now.
And check this out, frost in West Virginia. You thought I was going to say West Alabama for a minute, right? West Virginia, where it was a low of 32 degrees, and it was recorded in Canaan Valley, and it was shared by David Carroll, who's actually a meteorology professor at Virginia Tech. They have sensors there in the mountain area doing a lot of observations and research in those areas. But how about that? Some frost in August, and we saw more posts like that and more images on social media across the Virginia area, West Virginia, earlier today. But Tania and Lauren, glad to have you back with us here for Weather Extra. What do you think? A little frost in August?
Well,
yeah.
I just wanted to say this. You know, West Virginia was ranked like the least fun, but I mean, hey, they're the coolest as far as weather. They got frost in, what month is it? August?
Unfortunately,
Right.
yes. Yeah, it's never made me so thankful to live in Alabama, I will say. Alabama has its perks sometimes.
Well, did you think early this morning, could you kind of feel that little taste of fall? A little hint out there earlier today. We had some
Felt
50s. Felt nice. We'll show you some of those lows around the area. But tonight, still another nice evening on the way. It's mostly clear in Vernon. We're at 86 degrees right now. And with it being so dry, that 2 points down to 51, I mean, it is extra crispy out there. You know, getting the summertime around here, we see dew points in the 70s. It starts feeling humid, very tropical, but that's why it feels so refreshing at times, is the low 50-degree dew points. But one thing about that, you factor that in with we're in a drought in a lot of areas, and we've had a breeze. Everything just really dries out in a hurry, and that's just going to worsen the drought conditions, unfortunately, over the next several days, because we don't see a lot of wet weather. Do not see much happening there in the rainfall. Maybe East Alabama, we could see an isolated shower. Let's go over to radar and show you what AccuTrack looks like right now. And in most areas, we are dry, but notice to the south of Auburn, this is even south of our coverage area, there's a little bit of wet weather here. There's an upper level disturbance, a little pocket of cold air loft that's going to be rolling on to the west direction here, rotating to the west over the next few days. And it's kind of interesting. It moves west of us through the weekend, and then towards the end of next week, it comes back. So it may bring us a few scattered storms later on next week. But in the meantime, for tonight, maybe a couple of showers here for these eastern areas, maybe as far north as Clay, Randolph counties. Just giving you that first alert that there could be a couple of showers. You check in with us later tonight. But most of us will stay dry, and again, with it feeling less muggy, not too bad out there through 8 o'clock. You see we're down to 78 degrees, and again, that sky will be clear again for tonight. Another beautiful evening. Those low temperatures here, looks like as we head into the early morning, 62 around Coleman tomorrow morning. So again, early in the day, we will see a nice little drop in those temperatures early on, 65 around Aniana, and looks like around Marion and Centerville, temperatures also bottoming out in the 60s. But I want to show you some data here. The average low for this time of the year, just showing you Birmingham, is 72 degrees. Today we dropped to 65 degrees. The average high is around 91. So with it being drier, we are seeing that nice little spread in temperatures, but below average, but not record setting. We did drop to 59 degrees in Birmingham in 1991, and on this date we reached 103 in Birmingham in 1950s there. But looking at the almanac for Tuscaloosa, today's high 90 degrees, record high for this day 102. We were at 62 earlier today, record low 55 degrees on this day in 1927. So we have also in Tuscaloosa seen temperatures even cooler. Didn't quite make it to record levels. Also Anniston, record low 58, today's low 61. But check out the record high for Anniston, 106 on this day in 1983. Today we reached 87. I think we'll take 87 degrees. What do you think, Tania?
I definitely think we'll take those temperatures over frosty temperatures and conditions. Check out these other images from Canaan Valley in West Virginia. Peter Forrester of Peter Forrester Photography sharing photos of frost and freezing fog earlier this morning. Temperatures hit again 32 degrees. And this comes after more than 30 million people are expected to wake up to morning low temperatures in the 60s the rest of this week, with some places even seeing 40s as a high pressure system settles across the Midwest and Northeast. Is bringing cooler skies and cool temperatures, with some of these areas not seeing temperatures this low in August in years. Central Park in New York City dropping to 58 degrees this morning, the first time since August 20th, 2008. Several records are also being broken across portions of West Virginia, Kentucky, and Ohio. These temperatures preparing us for fall's grand entrance in about a month. Now we're going to send it over to Lauren Linehan to talk more about when we can expect that fall foliage. Tell us more about it, Lauren.
Well, Tania, I hate to break it to you, but spoiler alert, it's not happening anytime soon. I know we kind of had that false fall here, but let's look at that fall foliage forecast. And this actually comes from SmokyMountains.com. So we look at their data and kind of use based on our own climatology when we could potentially begin to see those colors changing. So really over the next couple of weeks could begin to see some colors changing up towards the Great Lakes and the higher elevations of the Rocky Mountains. But here in Alabama, still nothing to call home about. When we could finally begin to see a little bit of color creeping back in would likely be the first week of October. And even then, it's going to be pretty minimal. So we're talking potentially getting into mid-October when maybe we can see a little bit more color on the trees. But it normally takes its sweet time here in Alabama, understandably so. It certainly stays hot here. So as we look at that fall colors forecast over the next couple of weeks, this week, nope. Next week, nope. In 2 weeks, nope. 3 weeks, nope. In 4 weeks, still nope. Nothing. We got nothing for you. But hey, maybe in 8 weeks, we'll have something when we get into October. So that first alert for some breaking brews as we get into tomorrow. Even though we've had that little hint of fall in the forecast, I'm not going to lie to you. I would still go with the iced coffee. And because tomorrow high temperatures are still going to be pretty seasonable for August in the upper 80s, low 90s, and there's a chance of an isolated shower or storm, go with that large iced coffee. And we've also been talking about how Starbucks is coming out with their pumpkin spice latte tomorrow. So definitely want to indulge in that large iced coffee and sprinkle a little pumpkin spice in, giving us hope for the months ahead. Wes?
All right, we're going to mix that in with some rising temperatures coming up here, Lauren. We're talking about that first alert for building heat next week. The next big thing for us here in Alabama, Tania explains after the break.
Welcome back into First Alert Weather Extra. I'm meteorologist Tania Michelle. Looking at those low temperatures sent in from our First Alert weather watchers this morning, we definitely saw some upper 50s like in Concord from John Talbot. Low 60s though in Oakman from Sarah Porter, in Coker, Ronald Hughes, Tuscaloosa County, 62 degrees, 63 in Alabaster from John King. And in Trussville, our good friend Tyler Young, 59. Lamar County, Tony McDonald, also 59. What about those lows tonight? It's going to be a little bit warmer tonight than it was last night. We'll definitely see a few low 60s, but more likely than not, mid to upper 60s as you bring in your Thursday. But take a look at those high temperatures as we approach next week. I mean, it almost doesn't fit on the chart, guys. 99 as we bring in next Tuesday. Get ready for more breaking heat conditions and just more sweltering hot conditions. And we've been talking about fall coming, but next week is not going to be bringing it. But let's talk more about Sideline, Lauren.
That's right, Tania. What do we got kicking off tomorrow? Sideline. So let me pull up that sideline forecast for you. As we go into tomorrow, this is going to be kicking off the high school football season. And you know, here Friday night, we'll have all the latest on sideline. Let's see how many times we can work that into Weather Extra. Looking at the forecast for tomorrow night, we have been mentioning that chance of potentially some isolated showers or storms tomorrow. But I think by the time we have game time, we should be doing a little bit better. So all in all, rain chances looking pretty low as we go into Thursday. And then Friday night, still having some high school football games. As we've been saying, I mean, it's not going to feel much like fall. I know this morning fooled us, but you can see around kickoff on Friday night, temperatures will be in the 80s around 7 o'clock and then falling into the 70s. I would still not say this is like cardigan weather by any means. And it is going to get just a touch muggier for tomorrow. But the good news is that as that muggy air briefly comes in tomorrow, then it'll take the back seat again and some lower humidity on the way for the weekend. But unfortunately, as we all know, when you do have lower humidity in place, we always say think of it like a desert. You can have those morning lows get really cool, but with that dry air, it can also get really hot in the afternoon. So fortunately, it's not going to be that muggy air that we're all too used to. But we will continue to track not just that potential for some lower humidity, but as Tania's been talking about, that heat is back in the forecast. We really don't have much in the way of rain chances, though. So I want to check in now with meteorologist Tania Michelle. Tania, with these lower rain chances, I don't know about you, my car has been looking like it needs a little scrubby scrub.
Well, Lauren, if it needs a little scrubby scrub, maybe you can get some work done this weekend because I'm giving you the yes, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Rain not in the forecast. So listen, your car has several days to stay clean and waxed. So take some time this weekend. I know you probably want to rest or relax, but if you want to do a little extra labor, hey, might as well wake up Monday morning heading to work with a fresh, clean car. And I just think it's awesome to have a clean car, right? I mean, who doesn't love that? But Lauren, we want to talk a little bit more now about the pollen because it's going to be so hot this weekend. Will it affect my allergies?
Well, Tania, probably. And I know we've already been a little stuffy around here in the Weather Center. One reason that may be is because the allergies are pretty bad right now. So the grass pollens have actually been pretty high. That's what we've been noticing is the grass and weed pollens have been pretty high. The mold, even though it's showing up here as higher, it actually hasn't been too bad recently. But this is the time of the year you think, well, why are you even telling us about pollen? Because when we see pollen this time of the year, it typically has to do with ragweed. And so the season typically starts revving up towards the end of summer, which is right now, and usually peaks in mid-September. Yep, we are well on our way. Symptoms include sneezing, runny nose, nasal congestion, headaches, irritated eyes, and a scratchy throat. Oh, all of those then. Many of these symptoms can make it seem like you're coming down with something else, but doctors say if your nose and eyes are red and itchy, you're most likely dealing with allergies. Doctors say the best way to ease the suffering is avoiding your triggers.
If you really have to go a lot of outdoor activities, trying to wear a mask, that will be another options. And then if you're coming in, just come home, then you probably have to wash your hair and take a shower and change your clothes. A lot of times, if you don't wash your hair at night, sometimes all the pollen in your hair stuck into your pillow, so you're probably suffering a lot at night.
Well, that was both disturbing and enlightening. Well, be sure to stay tuned right here to First Alert Weather Extra as we continue to keep you updated on those pesky ragweed pollens in the weeks ahead. And still ahead, we continue to talk about the warm-up, unfortunately, as we head into next week, plus take you to the tropics and update you on where some trouble could be brewing. We'll be right back.
And welcome back to First Alert Weather Extra. Most of us are dry. We're going to stay rain-free for this evening. Only location, though, where we might actually see a little bit of rain, far eastern areas. There's a disturbance in here. You see a couple of showers. Some of the models suggest there might be a pop-up shower or two that may develop as far north as possibly Randolph, Clay counties, but that's it. We're dry in West Alabama, central areas. You can see by 10 o'clock tonight, we're going to take you right on into the evening here. We'll stop it at 10. 70 around Hamilton, Jasper at 73, feeling those nice 70s down in towards Greensboro, Demopolis, Marion, north towards Brent and Centerville, West Blockton over to Alabaster, and East Alabama tonight. A chance that we're going to see, again, maybe some more clouds mixing in and maybe an isolated shower. See how the forecast radar data is picking up on that. A lot of that staying just off to our east. But it's possible that, again, we could see maybe a couple of showers. But during the day tomorrow, still a nice start in the 60s. But by the time we get into the afternoon, we'll see temperatures. You notice Tuscaloosa there showing 91, 92. Utah, Aliceville around 93. We'll still see those low 90s in a few spots. Not a lot of wet weather, but there's a chance in the afternoon through supper time tomorrow night, well, right around this time, might be a couple showers you can see popping up. So hopefully we get a little bit of rain out there to help us, because if we don't see much tomorrow, which we won't see a lot of rain, that's it through the weekend and through a good part of next week. We're just not seeing a lot of wet weather. So I know we've got the drought conditions in place, especially for areas to the northwest, and those drought conditions are just going to continue to worsen, it looks like, as we move into next week. But the 10-day forecast, again, it shows that 20% chance for a shower for Thursday. Dry through the weekend. Saturday and Sunday we have highs in the low 90s. Place first alert Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Highs approaching 100 degrees. We may be talking about some first alert weather days, so stay tuned as those temperatures are expected to build. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, this is looking on into next week. You can see that there will be a chance for some scattered showers and storms coming back in that long range forecast. But, you know, even though it's hot during the afternoons, Saturday morning 67, not too bad. 69 there early Sunday. Just plan on those hotter afternoons. And actually, if you have pool plans for this weekend, looks like at least those temperatures will cooperate for Saturday and Sunday. But one thing you really haven't heard us talk a lot about today is what's going on in the tropics, because things, at least in the Atlantic basin, settled for now. But it's a different story when you look at what's happening in the Pacific basin. And meteorologist Lauren Linehan is going to break down that forecast. And actually, Matt's going to break down the forecast, and then we're going to check in with Lauren coming up for updates on what's happening in the tropics.
Well, we are getting close to the end of August and entering September. And as you can see with our climatology of the tropics and hurricane season, we're entering the peak of the hurricane season. So at this point in the game, we're likely expecting several systems. But thankfully, it's unusually quiet. Knock on wood, hopefully it stays quiet. I would love that. But one reason why we're seeing not much in the way of activity after Ernesto is we've got a lot of easterly strong winds. A lot of these tropical waves also moving off the coast of Africa that we typically watch to see if they could form. They're a little bit farther north where the waters are cooler, and so it's preventing anything from developing. So at least for now, going into the weekend, no issues. But the things that we are watching, we've got La Nina forming, that's for sure. And one thing that's definitely for sure is those sea surface temperatures are extremely warm, especially in the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean, near record territory. And of course, we got to watch that, because anything that moves into that area, if the environment's favorable, they could become, they could rapidly intensify. So every 2 weeks, Colorado State University, they're known for issuing their tropical outlooks. They put out a new one as of yesterday, and they're calling for the next 2 weeks between now and September 2nd. Only a 20% chance we'll see above average activity for this time of the year. That's a good odd. That's good. And they're looking at maybe a 55% chance we'll see near average activity across the tropical Atlantic. And they're also giving it a 25% chance it may actually trend below average. So if we can see not a lot of activity at the peak of the season, that could be a good thing for us. However, looking ahead at long-range models, they're not showing anything in the short term, and they're looking at the main development region when it comes to tropical activity, where you go off the coast of Africa into the central Atlantic and approaching parts of the Lesser Antilles and Puerto Rico. They're looking at a high chance we could see something form between August 28th and September 3rd. So we'll just have to watch this. Notice, though, there's no outlook for the Caribbean or for the Gulf of Mexico. So that's good for us. We never want to see anything get closer to home, because that usually impacts somebody. And then going out into an experimental outlook, going into the third week, September 4th through the 10th, they're looking at a medium chance of maybe a tropical wave moving out into the Atlantic. So there's some uncertainty, something to watch, but at least in the short term, we will take what we can get, because as we go into September, anywhere in the Atlantic is fair game when it comes to development, especially as looks likely as you go closer to Hispaniola, towards the Bahamas, and of course into the Caribbean and into the Gulf of Mexico. We'll continue to watch the tropics, keep you updated on the forecast. If we see anything, we will let you know here, and of course through the WBRC First Alert app.
Thanks, Matt. Well, we have been watching the tropics, of course, in the Atlantic, but the Pacific Basin is actually really active right now. You can see there are actually 3 areas we're watching. One of those is Hurricane Gilma. So there is already a hurricane. Fortunately, it's out in the middle of the Atlantic. So we're not seeing anyone necessarily being affected by this, but Gilma is undergoing rapid intensification and could be a Category 4 hurricane within the next 24 hours. There is an additional area we're watching to the south and east of Hawaii that has a high chance of development. And then we also have another area right behind Gilma that also has a high chance of development over the next 7 days. So while things have been quiet in the Atlantic, just not the case in the Pacific. But we'll continue to watch things closely in the days ahead.
All right, Lauren, always interesting how that works. We were just talking a few moments ago about how early in the season when we had the development in the Atlantic and it seemed like things were really ramping up, it was calmer in the Pacific. Now it's all active over in the Pacific. Well, you were mentioning over the next 7 days watching what's happening in the tropics. Right now, what we want to do is take you beyond that 7-day forecast. And Tania, you know, we were looking at not just 7, but the 10 days a few moments ago, and we could see towards the end of next week. It's interesting, this disturbance. It's actually bringing us showers over East Alabama.
Yeah.
It moves west of us, and then it could come back later next week and bring a little bit of rain.
Oh yeah, next week looks a little bit more wetter, Wes, and that's as we approach closer to the end of this month and really the start of September. But here we are looking beyond the 7-day. Notice the big story, quicker than the 14 days out, will really be those hotter conditions that we're going to be seeing. So Wes was showing you that we could see some triple digits by next Wednesday. Then the following week, temperatures start off and really continue high through that following weekend. 98 Saturday. Before some of that wet weather will likely cool us off, and we'll start to see those temperatures back into the lower 90s. But you know what happens when we introduce rain and storm chances? Humidity levels rise, so feel like temperatures may rise as well, and that means it's going to feel hotter outside for you. But don't go anywhere. You're watching First Alert Weather Extra. We'll have a final check on your weather right here after the break.
Well, I had to share this photo. Was just sent in by Daniel Browning, actually flying over Vietnam right now,
Oh,
where it is sunrise.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Lovely.
Oh my gosh.
How cool
well,
is that?
Good morning to you.
Yeah, so it's already Thursday. Yeah, good morning, Vietnam.
Yeah,
It's
good
Thursday
morning, Vietnam. Right. I just want to show, what's happening on the other side of the world. But while, we're kind of dealing with some hot weather right now, though, we are going to have some cooler temperatures tonight.
Oh, yeah. And you can catch forecast updates tonight, plus that next chance for rain tomorrow, right here, first at 9. Stay with us. All right. Wait a minute. My lips look black. I don't like that. I'm ready. Let's do it. Let's do it. Is it okay? Yeah, I can show the 10-day. It's fine. Let's do it in 3, 2. First Alert meteorologist Tania Michelle here with a look at that 10-day forecast. You're a little special today. You get some extra days to plan ahead and kind of get an idea of what the forecast looks like beyond the 7-day. Thursday, we have an isolated rain chance around. High is still very hot, though, upper 80s. We're going to stay in the 90s, though, as we approach the weekend. But look at next week. A first alert for very hot conditions. Rain chances start to return for us as we look about 8 to 10 days out from now. Notice Wednesday, about a 20% chance for a shower, but it looks like more scattered activity possible with those temperatures very hot in the upper 90s for next Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. You're going to want updates on those next rain chances, so be sure to check in with us. You can get forecast updates by downloading the WBRC Fox 6 News app. I wanted to say, let's do that again. I was trying not to say Fox 6, WBRC 6 News app. One more time. Run that back for me. Run that back. Okay, in 3, 2. First Alert meteorologist Tania Michelle here with that 10-day forecast. Some extra days to help you plan ahead. We will hold on to an isolated rain chance for your Thursday.